call the meeting to order at 5:30. And may I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. And with that, we will convene to close session.
Got it.
reconvene the meeting at 6:07. Nothing to report on closed session, so we will now have the land acknowledgement.
Okay, then. I should have looked at the agenda so I'd be prepared. Okay. Sonoma County is the home of many tribal nations, including Cloverdale, Pomo, Cashier Pomo, Lytton Pomo, Dry Creek Pomo, Mishawal Wapo, and the Federated Indians of Grayton Rancheria, which includes Southern Pomo and Coast Miwok people. The Cotati-Roanoke Park School District is located on the ancestral homelands of the Southern Pomo and the Coast Miwok, who today are known as tribal citizens of the Federated Indians of Grayton Rancheria. The Southern Pomo and Coast Miwok people have been stewards and caretakers of these lands since time immemorial and have survived acts of local genocide and a legacy of colonialism. Phew, sorry about that. Today, they are part of a living tribe that is affecting positive change for Native and non-Native communities through the tribe's mission of social justice, cultural revitalization, and environmental stewardship. Okay.
Okay. And I also wanted to say, I also want to read our mission and vision statement at each meeting. Mission helps define a organization's purpose, values, and direction. And a vision, we know that without vision, people perish. And so the mission of the Cotati-Roanoke Park School District is to be a district where all students are welcomed, valued, engaged, and excited about learning. Students graduate with excellence in critical thinking, a love of learning, and are prepared to move successfully in the world and life. Every staff member working as a team helps to create a community of conscientious learning, equity, and opportunity for all. And our vision is to be a welcoming community that inspires possibility, connects people, and ignites learning. And we're also going to be looking at core values too. Okay, with that said, we will have the flag salute.
Everybody, please stand up. Please remove all hats and hoods. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job, girls.
Good job.
Okay, next up is our presentation from John Reed School. So I'd like to start with saying thank you for being here tonight in light of yesterday's difficulty. It shows your resilience and your determination to plow through, so thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, so good evening, everyone. I am Christy Corbett, the principal of John Reed School. On this first slide, you can see my amazing staff. I could speak my entire presentation about how amazing they are. They give themselves each and every day, every ounce of themselves to our students and families, and they also give all of themselves to me. If I ever ask them, how can I help? Their response is always, how can I help you? We are truly a family that supports everyone in good times and in bad, like we felt yesterday. I feel blessed to be in their presence each day. And all of my amazing staff, please stand. We even have some mini students in my staff. As you can see on our slide, we have 375 students this year at John Reed, growing even bigger next year, and we can't wait. Of those students, we have 185 multilingual learners. And of course, we have TK through 5th grade at our site and 14 amazing staff members. When I asked my staff to come and join me here tonight, you can see how they filled our audience. Okay. I definitely believe in the importance of academic data, and I'm sure many principals come and speak to you about academic data. I was an interventionist before I was an admin, so obviously that's a huge part of my heart. But this evening, I want to talk to you about the importance of social-emotional development, because I truly believe you cannot have academic achievement without that coming first. So on this slide, you can see that in our most recent Youth Truth data, which just came out a couple weeks ago, all of our students, families, and our staff rated relationships as one of the highest ranked areas. At John Reed, we truly believe in the importance of building relationships and creating a school community. I asked my teachers a couple months ago to start having community circles in their classrooms at least twice a week. Many of my teachers are now doing that every day as part of their practice, and it is truly building that classroom community. Building relationships is an area of importance in where we thrive at John Reed. Students cannot learn without it. As you can see by the statements made from our students, they do feel supported. In kindergarten, Hayden said, "I love that we learn and go to recess. I like that Miss Muguruza is a good teacher, and I have a lot of friends." Isabel in 5th grade, who also created a presentation to get Miss Raffo's glasses, created an entire presentation on her own, also came to me to share what she experiences at our school each day. She said, "I love how everybody here respects boundaries. We have a great community where everyone offers to help. The teachers always offer help and support, even if you have something personal to discuss. You can talk to a teacher anytime." As a first-year administrator at John Reed, I feel like this data is just as important as our academic data. You have to have this first. Tonight, I really wanted to speak with you about our Community Schools Grant. And we are just in year 1 of implementation. And as you know, I was not the principal at John Reed when the grant was written. So I feel we have accomplished so much just in year 1. We already have developed our wellness center. It is not the beautiful space it will be very soon, but it is shaping up to be just a wonderful place for our families and our students to visit. In that space, we have our full-time counselor. We're so fortunate at John Reed to have a counselor on our site every day, all day. Also in that site is our Wellness Center coordinator. This year, our Wellness Center coordinator has been focusing on developing our community partnerships. So each week we have our mobile health clinic on our site on Thursdays, and we have started a bi-monthly food pantry, providing that resource to our families in a time where everything has increased in price. We still have eggs at our food pantry. And then our counselor provides support in the classrooms, specifically in our lower grades, but then also provides individualized counseling as well as group counseling. Our Wellness Center coordinator just began teaching classes to our families in English. This was an ask and a need that came out last year when the grant was being written, but also an ask that has been continued throughout this year, and our families are so appreciative that we're providing that service. We are lucky that both our Wellness Center coordinator and our school counselor are bilingual, so they're able to reach all of our population at our school. Another thing that we've added this year in our Wellness Center is we've created a packet that our Wellness Center coordinator sits down and she meets with every new family. We've been very fortunate at John Reed. We've had new families join us since winter break. We've had multiple families, and I know how hard that must be to make that transition. So just having that time for her to sit down and just explain our school schedule and what happens at John Reed School and provide resources in our community, I've had such positive feedback from our families, and it's something I'd like to share with the other principals to develop at their sites as well. The future of our wellness center. I can't wait to see how it looks when we have all of our furnishings thankfully signed today. We have, thank you, Mr. Bartolome, for signing our contract and getting this to come to fruition very soon in our future. So if you see in the center of this slide, you can see that's what our wellness center will look like very soon. And we are hopeful that it will come to fruition by this late spring, so be looking for an invitation to our ribbon cutting ceremony. If it doesn't happen by spring, it will happen early in the fall, but we're hopeful that we're able to get everything that we have planned taken care of before the school year ends. In addition to the aesthetics changing in our wellness center, we're also looking to add Mentor Me. It's a program that I was very familiar with in my previous site. I worked in Petaluma for 25 years before coming to Cotati-Rohnert Park, and I really have seen how that can transform a child's life. So I'm looking forward to bringing Mentor Me as part of our community schools grant funding. We'll continue to increase our family resources, and if you can see in the new design, that whole front area will be the area in which families can go and just grab pamphlets of things that they need or sit down and meet with our wellness coordinator to talk about community resources. So that first area will be an area where our parents will be able to gather materials that they need for themselves and for their children. Another part is building that creation of sustainability. So we are incredibly fortunate. This grant is a 5-year grant, but our goal is to make sure that when the grant funding is subsided, that we still are able to continue the programs that we established. So that ties in with our community partners and extending our community partnerships. And lastly, I wanted to share some successes and our challenges at John Reed. We have so many successes. I couldn't even fit them on this screen. If I had more space, I could fill slide after slide. We have an incredibly collaborative staff. You see them in your audience. And then if you've ever walked into our office, you know how we have such an amazing, welcoming environment. We have a brand new office manager, and we both started the year together. So we have an established relationship prior. I've actually known her since she was 19. So it was lovely that we have this partnership together. Our ELD schedule is helping us to continue to have that designated integrated ELD support for our multilingual learners. We've created a partnership with SCO in which our teachers are receiving coaches and coaching support from SCO partners. Our grade level PLTs are focusing on our guaranteed standards, just as the other elementary schools in our district. And then we have some community partnerships that we are incredibly proud of that were based on some grant writing that I did when I started this role. So we are partners with the Sonoma Environmental Education Collaborative, also known as SEEK, which provides outdoor field trips, including all busing fees paid for from the collaborative. So all of our grade levels are able to go out into the community and visit sites that possibly families had never been able to access. So it provides that outdoor educational hands-on experience for all our grade levels. They also come into the classroom and provide some in-class learning as well. We also have a partnership with It's Elementary, which is part of the Santa Rosa Symphony. And each month they provide listening, daily listening and lessons for our classes. But they also provide the opportunity, incorporating the fees for busing provided by the grant for our students to go out and to hear the Santa Rosa Symphony children's performances, and provided cards for all of our families so that they could go on the weekend and as well to hear them. And then we have a partnership with the the community library, the public library comes onto our campus with the Bibliobus, and our students are able to go in and select books, and then those books remain in the classroom. Then the Bibliobus returns 6 weeks later, and we make the exchange with the books. But that's been a great partnership, and has created relationships for our families to then go to the public library once our students have experienced the Bibliobus. We also have educational partnerships this year, and I've already shared about the ELD partnership with SCO, but we have a second partnership in order to increase our STEAM learning, and that also provides coaching for our teachers as well as the opportunity for our friends at SCO to come in and actually teach lessons at our site. This year we started, thanks to Mr. Avila in our audience, a partnership with Stanford. And the partnership is to increase our students' dialogue within math. So to increase that math vocabulary through Math Talk, it's called Math Out Loud. And we're really proud to be partners with them and looking forward to that partnership continuing in our future. So those are just some of our very many successes at John Reed. Along with successes, there are always challenges. But my staff can tell you that I always greet every challenge with, "We're just not there yet." So I have some sayings that continue. What's my other one, everybody? I appreciate you. I always end every discussion with my staff with, "I appreciate you," and I do, with my whole heart. So some of our challenges is our class size, especially in our lower grades. Our kindergartens and our first grades started out at the cap this year, and that has been a challenge. Parent participation. Many of our families just simply don't have the availability to participate on our campus, but that's something that I'm going to be working on next year and finding ways that they can participate, if not during our school hours, but at home in the evenings or even before school, if that's an availability to them. We also currently do not have enough staff to help with behaviors. That's another one of our challenges. Attendance this year has been challenging due to all the illness. So we've had a lot of students have missed multiple weeks of school because it's spread through their family, and then we come back to them and they're out again. So that's been a challenge this year, missing their education when they're not in school. We have a huge ELD population. You saw we have 185 multilingual learners, but this year our ELD assistants decreased from 3 to 2. And as I say, I'll continue to work with my staff to meet these challenges. We just haven't solved them yet. I was also asked to share about some of our events, and just last weekend, we were the servers at Applebee's for our fundraiser. So I have definitely learned being a server is not in my future. Tomorrow we have our read-in. And so all of our students will be participating in different ways with reading. I'll be reading in classrooms. Some of our students will be coming in PJs to be nice and cozy for our read-in day. It was really left up to each grade level to work with our partners to decide how they wanted tomorrow to look. So it'll look a little different in each class, but we'll all participate in reading tomorrow. Our Pasta Feed and Art Show will be on April 23rd. And I'll hope that you are able to attend that. We have used some of our funding through Prop 28 to have Georgia O'Keeffe lessons throughout our grades from TK to 5th. So some of our teachers will be utilizing that art. Others have favorite projects that they've done throughout the years that they'll be showcasing at that art show. And then on May 12th, it is our open house. At John Reed, open house is really a community event. So it will start with that community event first and then transfer into the classrooms for our teachers and our students to share their good work. But we hope that you're able to attend some of those events with us. And I just wanted to thank you so much for your time, and I truly love my school, my students, and my families.
Any questions for John Reed?
I'm going to steal your phrase. I appreciate you and your staff.
There you go.
Yes, thank you again for being here tonight. And thank you for sharing successes and challenges. That gives us a nice rounded perspective.
I do have one question. For the not enough staff to help with behaviors, I 100% agree. No, I'm not questioning that. What does staff for that look like? Is it more staff in the classrooms? Is it more staff so that students can go see someone before or after school or during class? Or kind of what would your magic wand solution be if we just could
Yeah.
create this?
So we're very fortunate at John Reed. We do have our sensory room, which allows students to get to that place of regulation through the different materials within that room. And we do have our campus supervisor. But it's challenging when we have our campus supervisor in the room with a student and then there's someone else who is needing support at the same time. So I would say that, and my staff can feel free to chime in, but I would say that we just need more hands on deck during the school day, especially at the beginning of the year with our kindergartners and our TK students who maybe haven't had a school experience prior. If we could have more support and coming into the school year, it would be really beneficial to our site.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Great, thanks again.
thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is safety presentation by Superintendent Eatery.
They're up in the booth and they're gonna help me if I can't figure it out. Thank you. Alrighty. Good evening, everyone. So this has been a request of the board for some time, and we think we got to where we need to be, but again, this is an opportunity for you to provide us with feedback to see if these are the questions that you wanted answered. And if they're not, we will make additions or corrections, but this is the first, this is the first test drive of this dashboard. We'll present 3 times a year, so you'll hear from us 3 times a year on the data. So I'm not accustomed to this computer, so let's see. Rochelle. How do I make it go forward? And it's really, oh, okay. Thank you. I think Kirby mentioned that. Sorry, Kirby. Okay, so the purpose of this is to provide information to the board and the staff. There's an interest in safety. We see it all around us, and we see it here, and we hear from our and we hear from our teachers and our staff and our parents that safety is a concern. We also want to publicly report on our progress. One of the things that I think is important for our district is that we share the information that we have. It takes all of us to problem solve. So presenting people with the information leads to better outcomes, I believe. We also want to make sure that we're creating welcoming spaces and cultivating a sense of belonging. People often look at safety as we need more cameras, we need higher fences, we need this, we need that. And I believe that those are all valid things, but I also think that those welcoming spaces and that sense of belonging help create those spaces, and those make those spaces safer. And I've always said that we are a mirror of our community in our schools, and if we have a healthy community surrounding us, we will have healthy schools. And I do believe that. And then we want to make sure that we're keeping our students and our staff safe. Oh my God, I just went to the last slide. I'm not very good at this. Okay, no. I'm not doing this well. I think that's the next slide. Okay, my apologies for that. Kirby talked to me about this a million times. I can hear the door shutting. They're probably coming back down here to help me.
Your MC's on the way, don't worry.
Kirby, maybe you could just stay here with me? Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Clearly. Anyway, all right, so our first goal on the dashboard, which we're going to show you later, is mental health and well-being. And some of the things that we've done to improve our mental health and well-being in our schools is we are working with a PBIS consultant who is bringing different perspective. She's amazing at blending PBIS and restorative conversations for our school sites. So she has offered sessions at all of our professional developments. She's also provided sessions with our leadership, and she's been on our school sites and walked through our school sites and looked at relationships and signage and what are we doing to incentivize our students to show up and be the best that they can be. So it's working on the culture. We also have mental health supports. And the other things that we're doing is we're offering opportunities for youth voice. And that's working through the panel that we had last year. We now have a student senate and our youth truth data. And there was significant improvement. One of the markers that I'm looking at is the trusted adult. And we had significant improvement in our trusted adult. Some schools went up as high as 15% and others at about 4%. The average was somewhere around 8% of an increase. So that was really good to see. Okay, arrow. So safety and security. We worked, one of the things that we heard in bargaining as well in as our other work with our labor partners is that we needed more staff trained in PROACT. So this year we were able to get 23 more staff trained in PROACT. So that's that's really about de-escalation. We're also including de-escalation training for all staff at the beginning of each school year. We have mandatory trainings for our staff, and they will all have a de-escalation module to participate in. PROACT training is in-person and hands-on. This other training will be computer time, and we'll continue to train our staff in PROACT. It's really one of the most, I think it's a really important component to de-escalate not only the environment that you're, but yourself too. It's to check yourself. We also have our annual review and updated safety plans, which you approved last month. And we are working with our safety consultant to make those plans usable and operationalize them, because they've become very boilerplate, and we need them to be very operational. We also have staff has reviewed at school sites their expectations and their responses to discipline, and that needs to be a very fluid and ongoing process. It can't just be a one and done, because people need reminders all the time. We are also making sure this spring, during spring break, Josh and our safety consultant will be going through all our school sites to make sure that we have the right materials and resources at each of the school sites. And he'll be making recommendations about the things that we need and the things that we don't need, so that we're prepared. We also have, have put together a system to be able to collect our workplace violence reports. We hadn't developed a process on how to gather those reports. We put this system in place, and we're continually refining it. So we'll be able to report on those numbers as well. We also will report on the numbers of suspensions and expulsions. Our expulsion numbers have gone down this year. I'm not sure where we sit with suspensions. We're also providing student service. Our student services director provides training to all our administrators on ed code, procedures, and discipline. We really have a strong relationship with public safety. We are in constant communication, and lately we've been in more communication than we have in the past, but they have been super supportive, and I want to thank them for all their help yesterday with John Reed. We also do our safety drills, and again, our safety consultant is helping us with that to make sure that there's a through line and that people are speaking the same language. And we have a big safety event happening on October 16th. We're collaborating with Sonoma State, the City of Cotati, the City of Roanoke Park, and Roanoke Park and Cotati Roanoke Park Schools. and we'll do that event in conjunction with the October 16th Great Shakeout. So we're in the planning stages of that. So our facilities. We want to make sure that our facilities are safe and secure, and that they are in the best shape possible. And I, thank Josh and his team for everything that he does to make sure that that happens. We use what's called the facilities inspection tool every year, and we go through our facilities to make sure that they are in good shape. We are working on extending our camera usage so that it covers more schools. You'll see that later on the agenda. And then we will be prioritizing our facilities projects. As you know, we passed the bond, and thank you to our community. Our facilities projects, you'll have the opportunity to look at those. We'll have an opportunity to start prioritizing those. And many of them were designed with limiting access to campuses and improving systems. So that's another step that we'll be taking to make sure that our facilities are as safe as they can be. I think one of the things that is really important when it comes to safety and behavior in general is communication. And that's one of the things that our team has been working on, is making sure that we're communicating with staff, with our parents, with our community, we've developed a communication plan, and we've used it many times in the last few weeks. And we're refining those systems with every event that happens, we continually to refine those systems. And that communication plan will go to the principals. They'll see it tomorrow. They'll offer us suggestions. We'll refine them. They will share it with their staff. Staff will get more feedback, and then we'll bring it to you for you to provide us with some feedback as well. The other thing that's really important is community building, which goes back to that really healthy environment that we're trying to create at all our school sites, and building those transitions from elementary to middle, and to middle to high school. So each school participates in, or each of the schools offers some kind of transition from our lower grades up to our high school. And crisis response, and making sure that we've got a multi-tiered system to make sure that we are responding to incidences appropriately. And this is establishing an incident command at our school sites, at our district level, and to be able to have all the pieces in place to respond when an event occurs. So we are continually refining those systems, and one of the things is language, making sure that we're all speaking the same language and we all understand what we mean. And I can't thank the cabinet enough for all the support that they've offered to our school sites during the last, we've had to evacuate Marguerite Hahn a couple of times. We've had events that have taken place across the district that has required that we enact our incident command. So I'm really grateful to everyone who has made all of this work. It allows me to be fully present in the incident and support the staff or the school while all these folks are working in the background to make sure that everything gets taken care of. So very grateful to all of them. And we're working on refining our Parent Square communication. If you get 50% on either side, you're probably doing pretty well. I get 50% of the people who are telling me we communicate too much, and 50% of the people telling us we don't communicate enough. So we're working on making sure that we refine our communication systems. We've gotten feedback that we are flooding the system with too much communication. So we're working on some ways of refining that and making sure that principals have some tools, that Parent Square allows you to make posts instead of sending emails. And so just different ways of maybe less urgent communication goes in a different form. So we're working on that as well, and that'll be part of our communication plan. So I grew up in a home that always said, we're not okay until we're all okay. And so I put this quote in here, and I'm guessing that's my, that was the era that my grandparents and my mom grew up in, and I'm figuring that's where that came from. But it's, we need this to be a place that we're all okay in. So I really firmly believe that. I do want to show you, okay, Kirby on high alert back there. Thank you. See, awesome team. Let's start with that one. So all these documents are inward facing, so they're not public. But this is kind of giving and again, these are documents that the principals will see shortly. But these are the things that we're doing to prevent: the staff training, the school plans, the workforce safety plans, how we are mitigating. We've got mental health services, collaboration with our partners, what we do to protect. If there's a threat, we do a threat assessment, whether it's a suicidal or a harm to others. There's a threat assessment that takes place when we hear about that. And there's a protocol that takes place with that. We also have what's called the Essential Five, and that's a county-wide program where there's shelter in place, the different reasons that you would go into different kinds of situations. We're trying to move away from the lockdown language, but there are shelter in places, secure the campus. So those are a part of this protocol that people are being trained on. Also, how do we respond? Again, the incident commands, making sure that we have our incident command protocols in place and we have the tools that we need to respond to whatever the situation might be. And the thing that often gets left out is the recovery piece, right? What do we do to recover from a situation? So we want to make sure that we have those things in place. Matt, Director Marshall, was able to make sure that we had resources at John Reed today. We had our social workers and we had therapy dogs available for the students and staff at John Reed. So that's just an example of what a recovery might be. And that is ongoing, right? It's not a one and done. We need to check back in with people. Okay, I think I'm going to go over here. Oh, so proud. Okay, so this is our dashboard, and that's how we're keeping track. This is all our cabinet members are contributing to this dashboard. They update it with where we are in have we gotten all the people trained in PROACT? Do we have enough people trained in PBIS? Has Laura been able to go to all the school sites? And this is just kind of our dashboard to keep track of the information that I shared with you. And this is how we will report to you. Again, we are open to feedback, and if this isn't meeting the need of what the board has asked of us, we're certainly willing to change this or refine this, or if there's something on here that we're not, that you'd like to add to it. We're open to all suggestions. But this is our plan now so that you are informed on where we are and how things are happening, and that we're reporting to you on incidents. You know that I share with you if there's anything that happens, I'm pretty quick to get you that information, but this is more of a public opportunity, and we're tracking more individual things that contribute to the safety of our staff and our community and our students. And we hope that this meets your desire for more information. Thank you. And if there are any questions.
Yes, I do, but go ahead first. Anybody?
I have a question. So we talk a lot about like the big things, like if something were to really bad happen at one of our schools and we have to shut down or lock down. One of the things that we are hearing from our staff and our teachers, and I know Lisa has talked about it in her RIPSIA report, is just the day-to-day classroom things that are students safe from each other, and are our staff and teachers safe from those students with some of the extreme behaviors that we're seeing. And I think it's going to take a little bit more than PBIS and restorative practices for some of these. I mean, there's some really wild things that I've heard of that are happening in the classroom. I have a number of friends that are teachers that are saying, I'm not going to do this for very much longer. I hope that our school isn't saying this, but in other districts I've heard, well, it's not that bad, so we can't do anything about it. And it's like, well, no, throwing a chair across the classroom is pretty darn bad. I mean, you get in trouble when I was a kid for that. So I would like, in the future, maybe when you do this at the next time, of what are we doing in the classroom for our students that don't want to come because maybe their table mate is overly destructive in a way that they actually don't feel safe and don't want to be in a classroom because of another individual. And same thing with our teachers. Like, work is hard. Any job is hard, but to have to come in day after day and not have any sort of recourse and just be told, sorry, that kid just isn't, you know, the behavior's not extreme enough to do something, or we're trying, and I know everyone's trying, and I don't want to minimize that we're not doing anything, but I don't know what the answer is, but I appreciate all the work that's done on the very high level stuff, but I'd like to see how are we handling these day-to-day, you know, the stuff that's happening actually in the classroom.
Yeah, I can answer that with a couple of things, but I mean, we have SEL curriculum for all our school sites, and so we're looking at the usage of that SEL curriculum. Is it being implemented? Is it helping? If it's not, let's find something else. PBIS it's a multi-tiered systems of support, right? Is your tier one, how's your tier one working? Yes, there are those situations that are difficult in classrooms. I am not minimizing that by any stretch. I fully understand that. And there are processes and systems in place to support those students, and sometimes they're just not fast enough. And I agree with that. And how do we expedite that? How do we get the kid? I look at behaviors communication. That child is trying to tell us something, and what are they trying to tell us? And we are not always equipped to respond quickly enough. That is certain. But we'll work on offering you some more tangible information about what's happening in the classroom.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm going to talk about a bunch of things. First of all,
Bring it on.
Here we go. So we still only have one resource officer.
Yep.
I would like to have 2 someday, 3. From that standpoint, I mean, so one of my jobs at Hewlett Packard was safety, and I teamed up with another person that was police background. I was in charge of artificial intelligence, but I was part of a team that was in charge of the facility and being safe. When I go home at night, I mean, there's cameras on my house. My yard is fenced. I feel fairly safe. We're in between times when we had a big dog that was an extra alarm, but I feel safe. There's locks on the doors or whatever. I look at the schools, and we're doing all the internal things, which are good. But I don't know, and we don't have cameras at all schools. I'd like to see cameras at all schools. We do have some other technology, which is unique, that can help us in security. I'd like to have our security consultant, kind of give us updates of what are the greatest and greatest things that schools are doing. So if they emergency, they push a button that locks all the doors, or there are better tools for the teachers to be safe in that situation. Whenever I go to a concert or whatever, I never park in an area that I feel is a risk. And in this building, I know where the exits are. I was trained to do that, and when I sit in a restaurant, I always, stupid, but I'm looking at the exits. I'm looking for the situations that I'm thinking about. In my car, I've got seatbelt, I got airbags. I'm not driving a bigger car, I'm not driving a Fiat type of thing, just because that's how I've been trained. So I feel I want the same thing for our kids in the school. I think we're doing the things internally, but I'm just worried that for that one person that wants to attack a school, that we don't have all the latest and greatest tools to, with only one resource officer, or the response time from, luckily we haven't had, a major incident that way. So I'm concerned about that. So internally, we've got the things, we've got the alarms. If you know your community, I mean, I know everyone in my household, and I know when somebody's upset and angry, so I know how to deal with it. I don't have some crazy uncle that's gonna come, want to knock the door down type of thing, but I just want it to be safe for the kids at the same time, and the teachers. You talk about teachers and stuff like that. There was an incident here, unfortunately, a few principals back, that a student got unruly and was big and headbutted him and broke his nose. So things happen, so you just, and how to deal with it when students are troubled and upset. And lashing out or whatever, throwing a chair or whatever. So I would like to see, like, again, reiterate, so that we know, I mean, I hate my family home in Auburn because there's one road in. It's a highly, forest. If fire comes, our main thing is, I'm not gonna save anything, I just wanna save lives and get out type of thing. I'm not gonna stay there and fight the fire type of thing, so I want the same thing for our 6,000 plus students here, and whatever it is. And I think we're doing the internal things, I just don't think, we haven't had the funds to do all the external things, whether it be cameras or locking systems and, other tools. So I just want us to keep that in the future. I think we're doing a good job internally. And one minor thing, this presentation would have been nice to have all the slides first.
There was a reason I didn't do that. I didn't want the documents to be
Okay.
public.
All right,
So I can send it to you
okay,
in our notes,
all right.
but that's why I didn't.
No,
do it.
I understand that you don't want to put that out there for that, but, okay. But I
I
mean, you
like-
could have put this up there without,
Yes, I can
without
do it
the
without the
dashboard,
links.
so.
I like how we've started the conversation, and we're keeping the conversation going, and with a lot of different input, we're gonna keep perfecting it. As Lef was talking, I had an idea of, the first step in safety is deterrence, right? Cameras are great deterrents, but also people are great deterrents.
Right.
And I think it'd be neat to have, recruit some volunteers to maybe be a safety team on campuses to walk when walk around when maybe class is in session, when there's not as many people out. And I'm sure there might be some volunteers out there who would be able to give some time.
Yeah, I used to do that. In my elementary school, I had parents who were willing to be on the campus and just walk around. Required some training and some input and some time, but they were absolutely willing to do it.
Thank you, Maite. I'm glad we're making steps towards safety. I noticed that at the, like I was just at a conference last weekend where it was basically about mental health in the university level and so on, and with how to see problems in your classroom and to take the teachers to take care of themselves too. So I don't know if we're going to have a conference like that or anything in this district, but it seems to be pretty helpful with, if you can check yourself and you can check your students too, that really helps.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I'm concerned about the balance of, the high-risk events as well as how comfortable the students are feeling and how the staff feels like they can respond. I know that there was just a recent law passed, and that we talked about the CSBA thing, the board policies and district policies, with what we can and what we can't do with the new laws within the state with dealing with kids. But our schools are a direct microcosm reflection of our society and community. I know I just heard about a 5-year-old trashing a classroom in one of our schools. Like, okay, it's a different world than what I grew up in. I can't even imagine that as a 5-year-old doing that. So I think we are, you're walking a tightrope. That probably wasn't what you studied when you were, going to school, wanting to be a teacher and get into the educational system. All of these things that we couldn't have foretold would happen in 20, 30 years. But I am interested in the balance of not just, the print is small there on the dashboard, so I have no idea what it says.
I'll send it to you.
But yeah, that we have a good idea of like, do I want like a zero tolerance policy and like, this is what's going to happen to each kid if they do this? No, but I do think we do need to have a sense of community within how the staff handles, a continuity to it that's the sameness of so a teacher at one school knows that a situation's going to be pretty much handled the same at another, and that they can feel more comfortable that way in their environment, as well as the students. I still remember last year when we had that youth panel talking about all of those kids, and they were talking about like when they spoke up to try to defend other kids or to try to de-escalate bad behavior, and they felt that they then became the threatened, person in that situation, so,
Or just a lack of respect.
yes, yes. Yeah, when the kids are saying that, that the teachers aren't being shown enough respect, that's pretty telling. So I'm looking forward to seeing like a balance with, the high priority or the high risk things that are, headline grabbing. Well, that's one thing, but then like how do we get people, the students and the staff that are more comfortable in their everyday, smaller scale safety situations, how they feel as well. So thank you for
And
taking
just,
this on.
just to piggyback on that, talking about, lack of respect, now being a grandparent and recently being at an event with elementary kids, they seem to have, like teachers do, that school seem to have control. And then when do we lose that lack of respect? Is it like the 5-year-old occasionally, or as it gets into older kids? Where are the kids having problems, and how do we deal with that? A million problems and a lot of work.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
a million problem, but issues.
Well, if there's nothing else, I'll send this to you so you can see the documents. And we'll continue to report a couple of times a year, and I'll add some of the things that you're suggesting.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Right, next item is trustee reports on activity. Trustee Johnson.
Okay, in the last couple of weeks, I had the privilege of being to participate in the budget meeting that we had for our community at the ranch, right here at the ranch in the library. And it was nice. Our CFO did a great presentation, thank you. And fielded some questions. And then last Thursday, I was part of the LAMP. And don't tell me what that, don't ask me what that acronym means, but it's when we get all of our unions together and plan about how to work in a collaborative setting. I really enjoy it. Thank you.
Trustee Brown.
So I also attended the budget meeting, and it's interesting that I think we had 2 parents there. Big turnout. And I remember I said, you won't get this room full or gymnasium full until you close a school. I think I brought that up. So luckily we are in a good fiscal position. So, and I think the teachers and some of the other staff might have learned something from John, did a great job. My second enjoyable event was I went to Hahn when they did their awards assembly last week. And I just have to, one of the teamwork things that I didn't realize was going on was it was anything but a cup day. So as I look on this table, I see a couple of vendor cups advertising, and I see another one that's kind of a certain color for a certain vendor. And so the first teacher that's walking in is walking in with a coffee cup, coffee pot, and is drinking out of a coffee pot. And I go, what? And then another one came in with a fish bowl. It was drinking it. And another teacher had a boot, and I thought, finally, my daughter-in-law teaches there, and I go, what's going on? She says it's anything but a cup day. And even the principal had a roll of paper towels and was drinking out of that. So I enjoyed their creativity in that, and then also I enjoyed the presentation. And it seemed like all those kids there were, united and well-behaved and lots of respect. So I just wonder as the kids get older or running more emotional problems, they start losing the thing that we heard from those students. So I enjoyed that thoroughly as a grandparent, and also noticed there were like 5 or 6 other sets of grandparents there that all our kids had gone through on. So it was kind of a fun event. So anyway, and we should have anything but a cup day and see who can be the most creative here. So I just have a glass of a bottle of water. So.
I hear the challenge, and
Okay.
when you described the fishbowl, I thought of Dr. Seuss.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
okay, that probably was there. And it was blue, too. The color of it was, the whatever substance in there was blue. So I'm thinking,
Non-alcohol.
no, it was, but I just, was interesting. For a minute there, I thought, what's going on?
Trustee Nelson?
Yeah, I had a great end of January and February, doing a little bit of traveling, and due to that, I did end up being sick for quite a bit. So I think I've missed, I wasn't here last meeting, and I think I missed several committee meetings as well. So hopefully that is in the past.
Good you're
Wait
healthy.
till you see what we signed you up for.
Yeah.
Trustee Wheaton?
I think it's been since the last meeting. I had to look at, John had our budget committee meeting. It was interesting when we were talking about having to find a couple $1 million. We had a lot of people there, and then this one, we didn't have quite as many, but we did have people sick and people out. So while sometimes we find it frustrating that people don't come, I'm taking it as a level of acceptance that they're happy with what we're doing. Trust, there we go. So, and I just want to say thanks to John and his team for always providing the information that we asked for and dealing with all my questions, and for our union partners for being there. And it's a really collaborative, open meeting, so I really enjoyed it. And I think this week we have our special education meeting tomorrow,
Yes.
I think, yeah. Great.
I too was at the budget advisory meeting and felt, the collaboration, the transparency was very effective and productive. I also was able to attend the John Reed open house of the Family Resource Center open house. And, in the last few days, and then the safety report with that in mind, we think of the negative things in life. And the Resource Center is just knocking it out. It's awesome. There's so many different levels of support for families and students. And the community is rallied around this, and it was neat to see elected officials there, CEOs and other high-ranking officials from companies who are supporting. What touched me the most was the testimony of a mom who has received services from the Resource Center. And she was reluctant to go there because of stigma, because of her own thoughts and whatever. And she went, and what she found was a warm, welcoming environment. She found people who just wanted to help, and she's been so blessed by every facet of that. It was really neat to hear from her. And when we think too about safety, when we think about student achievement, the Family Resource Center is one thing that's helping that. It's helping families, strengthening them, which we're going to see results for that. It may take a while, but we'll see it. And I was also at a training from CSBA, and one of the things I heard there is one of the things that affects student achievement, something we've been talking a lot about, is superintendent tenure. The longer superintendent is at a school, at a district, the increase in student achievement. So looking forward to the next few years of stability.
Like a 30 or 40-year tenure, is that what you're talking about?
And with that, I'll pass.
I think you're talking about like the mandatory tenure.
Yeah, mandatory tenure, yeah.
With that, I'll pass the baton to the superintendent report.
Thank you all. Thank you for those kind words. So I was thinking, well, I really haven't done much. And then I'm like, oh my God. And then I started thinking about it, like, well, quite a bit has been accomplished. So we've met with our labor partners, IBB, LAMP, Labor and Management Partnership.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Meet and confer. So those are, I feel like we are super productive in these meetings, and we're really there to roll up our sleeves and problem solve together. And I do appreciate all our labor partners and their trust and their energy and their time to really look out in the best interest of our students. I was really fortunate. I continue to visit school sites, but I went to UALF, I think it was last week. They were doing instructional rounds, and it's very teacher generated. It's just an amazing opportunity for teachers to go in groups and visit each other and view their lessons. And then they debrief and they talk about the things that they want. And I have to hand it to Principal Lundy for helping facilitate that conversation. She really turns it over to the teachers, and the teachers are really investigating what they want to do and how they're impacting students. So it was a great opportunity for me to watch that in action. We had our budget advisory meeting, which it wasn't as well attended because we aren't having to cut as much as we originally thought, which is amazing. And again, that goes to John and his team and the board for all they've done to make sure that we are fiscally sound. We also had a community budget meeting, which was attended by Trustee Johnson and Trustee Brown. And we did not have a lot of people from the outside, but we had a lot of staff there. And that really matters because they're the ones that are going to continue, they're the ones that are going to carry that message forward. So, and it's having that opportunity to, like with the safety presentation, it's presenting where we are, and when we do hit bumps and we do hit trouble spots, that we have a system in place that brings people together to figure out how we improve. And the budget, it's like to me, it's like a wellness check. Here's where we are, here's what we predict is gonna happen, and here's where we'd like to get to. I also attended the Family Resource Center. I am a firm believer in Family Resource Centers. I think it's one of the most important things that we can do for our community, and it was really well attended. CPI does an amazing job of funding that space, and their community partners. I don't want to start naming them because I'll miss someone, but they have several community partners that have supported that work and continue to support it. So it's very exciting. We also had the 2x2x2 meeting, and I don't think the invites went out properly, so we'll make sure that they go out to our trustees in the future. I realized that when I was in the middle of the meeting, I'm like, we're missing some people. So my apologies to the trustees on that one. But we met with the city of Cotati, the city of Rohnert Park. SSU was not able to be present. And we talked about some different ideas on what we're gonna do. And one of the things is, as I mentioned earlier, is the collaboration on the big safety event. So we're working on finding ways that we can collaborate with each other and support each other in the work that we're all trying to do. So our next meeting is in I'm not gonna tell you because I'm not sure, but I'll get it to you, I promise. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Maite, do you know with all the changes that are occurring at Sonoma State right now, I know we get a lot of student teachers from Sonoma State, and Rancho just signed the deal, the kind of joint learning thing. Are any of our current programs directly affected in the near future?
That's tough for me to answer. I don't think so. I think our student teachers, we're still solid with our student teachers. The one program that they are eliminating that could have an impact on us is many of us went through the Sonoma State Administrative Program, and that is being eliminated. So that's, North SCO offers a program for administrators. I do appreciate the Sonoma State model and the program that they had. It was a cohort model, and I really appreciated that. So as far as I can tell, our student teachers are solid. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. For item 7C, D, and F, there are no report. We have a receipt of official correspondence. Item F, nope. Okay, nothing for that. So item 8A through I, consent agenda. Any questions regarding those items? Then may I have a motion to approve item 8A through I?
I'll move.
Any second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Okay, item 9A, ratification of administrative secretary. And
So we have Jen Hansen coming up to the podium. And
Hello.
she's going to talk you through
That
these.
consent went so fast. All of a sudden, we're here. Yeah, so we decided to bring a new job description forward to you. And this is in response to Rena Fabros, who was our, I'm trying to remember her title. This data analyst. So she worked with Matt Marshall in Student Services, and the data analyst role is under our confidential salary schedule. And so confidential salary schedules really are only for staff members that serve or have access to anything negotiation related. So it's not due to like being exposed to confidential material. So it's a little misleading in the title. So when Rena received her new position as our new food service coordinator, which we're very excited about, we were looking at the position supporting the student services department, and the majority of our other departments are supported by an administrative secretary. So expanded learning, our facilities maintenance and operations, special education, they all have an administrative secretary that supports the director there. So it just kind of made sense to have an administrative secretary for student services, supporting that department. So, and also making it correct and not having it be on the confidential salary schedule when it didn't need to be. So this is what we are bringing forward to you now for ratification.
Any questions? Okay, may I have a motion to approve item 9A, ratification of Administrative Secretary, Student Services Job Description.
I move.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, next up, item 9B, consideration and possible action and resolution
I have
regarding.
one question really quick,
Oh.
sorry, can I go back? So we ratified the job description, do we need to put them on the salary schedule?
The administrative secretary is already on our
Okay,
salary
so it's the
schedule.
same one.
It's just, the positions for those, supporting those directors are all very different. So we have individual job descriptions for each of those people, but the pay is the same regardless.
Okay.
So no change needed to the salary schedule.
Okay. Consideration and possible action on resolution regarding elimination of permanent classified employee services.
Yeah, so this is basically our layoff resolution, which is unfortunate. We never want to be having to lay off any of our employees. But in order to remain fiscally solvent, we did have some discussions and made some agreements that we would be moving forward with eliminating 2.0 FTE of classified employee services. So in the enclosed resolution, you'll see that it is for 2 of our behaviorists, our district behaviorists. So these are classified management positions, not a part of CSEA or SEIU. And so we are asking that the board approve this elimination of these 2 positions.
Any questions?
When we hired these 2 people, I remember, like, these are COVID relief fund monies, right?
Correct.
So we're not getting rid of them because we couldn't afford it. We told them that this was COVID relief money and that your job was a short-term temporary job.
One-time money.
Yeah.
Correct. It was using one-time money, and that was, there's limited time limit for, that we had available. It's not ongoing money.
Right, okay. So it was always the plan for the, be a 2-year job and at the end.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. We wish we could keep them forever, but it's just not in our financial plan.
Well, it wasn't ever,
Right.
like, when I voted on it, I never expected it to be a forever thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but because classified employees are permanent after 3 months, and there's no temporary classified employees, we have to do it in form of a layoff.
Any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve consideration and possible action on resolution regarding elimination of permanent classified employee services?
I'll make a motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
No, roll call.
Oh, thank you.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Nelson,
Aye.
Trustee Wing,
Yes.
Trustee Martin.
Aye. Okay, so moving on to item 9C, consideration and possible action on resolution regarding certified reduction in force to FTE.
Yes, so this is our second layoff. This is for our certificated staff, and these are 2.0 FTE of elementary counselor positions. This is made up by a full-time elementary counselor and then 2 other people. One was a 0.6 FTE and one was a 0.4. So So it was 3 people, but a 2.0 FTE. Similar to before, these were COVID-funded dollars and just unfortunately don't have it in the budget moving forward. And these are 2 RIPSIA positions, not management.
Any questions? Okay, may I have a motion to approve?
I move that we approve 9C.
Roll call?
No, you got to go second.
Oh, second?
I'll second.
Okay, now roll call.
You're getting it here.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Nelson?
Aye.
Trustee Wing?
Yes.
Trustee Martin?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Hanson.
Thank you, Jen.
Okay, item 10A, approval of governance handbook.
This is the handbook that we went over with Babs Kavanaugh, I believe it was last month, that we made revisions, and we're bringing it forward for your approval.
Any questions? Okay, may I have a motion to approve item 10A
I move.
and a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 10B, approval of April 15th, 25, and September 23rd, 25 special study session date.
Yes, thank you. We are asking that we add 2 special study sessions. The first one would be on immigration. There was interest in understanding that better, and one of our attorneys would be present to present to you on the status of that and to answer any questions that you may have. The September 23rd meeting, I'm really excited about. It's going to give you an opportunity to meet with each cabinet member, and you'll be able to hear from them. They'll give you some information. You'll be able to ask questions of them in their jobs and their roles and the great things that they're doing. So we're asking that you approve the addition of 2 meetings.
Any questions? Okay, may I have a motion to approve item 10B
I move that we approve 10B.
and a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 10C to K are first readings. Any questions, comments? Okay. Sure.
I wanted to ask the board, we're now providing you with a red line version of the policies. Is that helpful to you?
Yes,
Okay, good.
very.
Thank you.
And thank you for doing that. Okay. Item 10L. I motion to approve Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 5113.1, chronic absence and truancy. Do I have a second?
All second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is roll call.
No,
it's not.
it is.
No, it's
Action?
No, it's action.
You're doing great.
Yeah, you're good. Keep rolling.
It does?
Mine does.
Mine does not.
Oh dear, okay. Aha.
You're not losing your mind, Eric.
All right. You're right.
We're just seeing if you're psychic or not.
Yes, well, we know now. Okay, so I'm sorry, did we all approve that?
Yes.
Okay, so motion carries 5-0. May I have a motion to approve item 10M, Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 5141.21, administering medication and monitoring health conditions.
I'll move.
Okay, oh, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I motion to approve item 10N, Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 5141.52, Suicide Prevention. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I motion to approve item 10-0, 10O, Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 5148, Childcare and Development.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I motion to approve item 10P, Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 5148.2, Before After School Program.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And I motion to approve item 10Q, Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 5148.3, preschool early childhood education. Do I have a second?
Whose turn is it? I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 5-0.
I have a question about
Okay, question about R.
So the policy says that at some point by the end of this year, we all have to be trained in an ethics class. Are we gonna do that at a study session, or is it our individual responsibility?
So I am looking into having like a CSBA come in or someone from SCO or 3F.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome.
Question, does that have to be a speaker, or could it be an online process to do that, or what?
So we did have an online training that was offered through CSBA, one that you could do individually.
Okay.
And they normally are virtual and they're about 3 to 4 hours. So
Oh,
How much is the in-person, how long is the in-person one?
20 minutes.
That's great.
It includes snacks.
but there's a test.
I'm gonna use this. Is it the board's pleasure to try to do it individually?
Personally, if it's a 3-hour training, I'd rather do it as a board at this.
Right, I'd rather do board too.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You'd probably do it faster than
Mm-hmm.
3
All right,
or 4 hours.
we'll keep pursuing that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Then I'll motion to approve item 10R, Board Bylaw 9240, Board Training.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And last in this section, 10S, I motion to approve Board Bylaw 9270, Conflict of Interest. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. And before we adjourn, I just want to say thank you to everyone who educates our students. From beginning to end, there's many hands that make it happen, and I appreciate all the work that each individual does in the district, so thank you. With that, we'll adjourn the meeting at 7:25.